With you and also how they do actually change for the new supply. It's a really common thing in the survivors community to say, oh, the narcissist never changes. They never change. It's going to be this way forever. Well, that part is kind of true, but it's really only half of the statement. The full statement should actually be a narcissist will never change into the person you want them to be. But why? Why, right? You're faithful, loyal, hardworking, sweet, funny, kind, beautiful, handsome. You're great. So why won't they change and just realize how damn good they've got it? I mean, even I have asked myself that question when I went through recovery. I took time to self reflect, and sure, I totally wasn't perfect, but I was a pretty good partner. But I still got completely used, abused, and tossed aside when I put myself first. In the eyes of a narcissist, you're great until you're not. You're great, but you're just not enough. They need more time, more attention, more money, more praise, more everything that you just could not possibly provide all on your own. But the narcissist does change, don't they? As far as I'm concerned, the change we experience from love bombing into devaluing is one hell of a change. We go from golden to garbage and seemingly overnight in a lot of cases. That person that we have in the beginning of the relationship fucking exits stage right and only briefly makes cameos from then until the end when they know they need to pull a rabbit out of the hat. There is a change in this person. They learn how much you'll put up with. They learn how much abuse you can endure and will endure. They learn how much they can lie to you. And with that, our lives go from fantasy fairy tale to nefarious nightmare. There is change from this person. It's just not for the better. But the new supply, right? This is where all that positive change comes in. And for some reason, we seem to feel like they clearly weren't changing for me, but something in our brain says they'll change for this new person, or they seem to be changing for this new person. I always wanted to do A, B, C, X, Y, Z, and they knew I wanted to do that thing, but they're doing it with this new person. They're not doing it with me. We were supposed to go to that concert, that wedding. We were supposed to take that trip, that vacation. It was supposed to be me. I hear this all the time. Look at all the stuff the new supply is getting that I'm not, I didn't get it. And why are they getting it? This person is changing for this new supply. Why are you so mad, survivor? I want you to sit and think about this. Why? You got love bombed too. All that shit they did for you in love bombing, somebody else was sitting around moping that that was supposed to be theirs. Why are you mad that a narcissist love bombs? That's what they do. Are we mad at a dog because they bark? That's what a dog does. Are we angry at kids for doing kid shit? No, they're children. They're lying. They're love bombing a new person. Why are you so mad that somebody shitty isn't lying to you anymore? Why are you mad that you're not going to fight for 3 hours in the car all the way to their cousin's wedding? And then they're going to get drunk and act like a dick and you're going to go home alone and cry. Why are you mad that you and them don't get to fight for a week on your vacation in Florida or Cali, wherever you go? And then once you're home, you get a silent treatment while they go fuck around on you. Are you kidding me? Why are you angry that you're not getting what you used to have? So many people are so mad. They're so bitter. They're so angry that they're not getting shit they don't even want anyway. You feel almost entitled to being abused. Why? And if you're feeling this way, survivor, I want you to really think about that. Why are you mad that you're not getting what you don't even want anyway? If you'd like to talk one-on-one about what you're going through and what you've gone through in a toxic relationship with a narcissist, you can email bookachatwithjess@gmail.com to set up private chats with me. A narcissist doesn't change for you. They change almost in spite of you. They love bomb, devalue, love bomb occasionally to hang on, devalue, and discard. This is what they do. This is what highly toxic people do. Yes, they change for the new supply. They sure do. You just seem to think the change is, for one, for the better, but two, you seem to think that brief positive change while they're love bombing and putting their best foot forward is going to last forever. So I guess maybe you just kind of forgot that you got love bombed to a certain degree. Everyone does. That new stuff that they didn't do with you, they're doing it with someone else. That shit that you seem to think you want so bad, guess what? You don't get it. You know why you don't get it? Because they're not trying to win you over anymore. They don't have to. Frankly, you're sitting around saying, why me? That's mine. Give me. They don't have to win you over anymore. You actually are sitting here heartbroken, but you still want it. They don't have to win you over anymore. Some people get stronger love bombing than others, and you do realize what's happening here. They're trying to win someone else. They're on the clock. They're grooming and wooing new supply to fall into the same trap that we all fall into. Everyone is different. Maybe the narcissist didn't feel like they needed to do certain things with you. Future faking is totally a thing. They'll promise you all kinds of shit, but never do it with you. But in the back of their brain, they're like, hey, that was actually a good idea. So when I'm love bombing someone else, that's what I'll do with them. We'll go to this place, we'll do this thing, whatever. And some people, like I say, get stronger love bombing than others. But you do realize a narcissist, they learn you, right? You know that. They learn you and they learn you fast. They learn how much you require. If you don't require something or request something from them, demand or command, however you want to say it, you don't get it. If you're with a narc for 2 years, let's say, and maybe you want to talk about getting engaged, getting married, and you tell the narcissist that, hey, I'd like to think about getting engaged. Where's this relationship going? And they give you, I'm not really ready to talk about that right now. I don't really think that's something that I really feel I can do right now. I can't have that conversation. And guess what? If that's what you hear and you back off and you never mention it again, guess what? They're not going to mention it again. It's all about what do you demand from them. Some people demand to be shown on social media. Maybe you didn't. That's why you're not on the social media. That's why they don't have pictures of you. Some people command it and demand it, and some people don't. They only do the bare minimum they need to do to keep the source of supply based on how valuable the supply is. Frankly, survivor, sometimes you're just not very valuable supply. That does not make you a bad person. It means you're not good narcissistic supply, which you don't want to be anyway. But the narcissist will do the bare minimum they need to do. But if it's a more valuable source, that bare minimum is a little higher. But the new supply will absolutely be devalued, and I can actually prove it. Have you been hoovered? Because that's devaluing the other person. Even if you don't get a lovey-dovey hoover, have they said, hey, hi, what's up? Left my hoodie over there. Can I get that back? It's still devaluing the new person. They're still trying to carry on some kind of conversation with someone who is not their new person. Are they still floating around on dating apps? That's devaluing their new person. Are they talking to other people? Maybe not you, but they're flirting and chatting up other people. That's devaluing their new source. Is the new supply the dirty little secret? Because that's devaluing, because that only means there's a primary source that everybody sees somewhere else. Maybe that's even you. If you're the primary source and they pick up a new supply, you might already be the cause of why the other person is getting devalued. And even if you don't see those things I just listed, the new supply will be devalued if they're not already, just because you don't see it in their shitty little social media posts. Just because you don't hear it through the grapevine, it doesn't mean that it isn't happening. The tree falling still makes a sound in the forest, even if no one is there to hear it. But why do you care? How someone else gets treated by this person, you realize that's actually none of your business. Come along with me on this hypothetical, survivor, okay? Let's say they do change. They change for the better. They wake up one morning and they're exactly the partner you want them to be now. They communicate, they're a great person. They ditch the new supply, they knock on your door and they give you closure. They tell you the truth. They open up to you and beg to start all over. Clean slate. Here we go. Is that all it takes, Survivor? You're just like, "Oh, okay. I guess we can just try again. I'll forget about all the horrific shit you did to me for months and years and possibly longer." Is that all it takes? I don't know. You might actually want to think about that. The narcissist does change. Everyone does. You do. I do. We all change. They will just never change into what you want them to be. And if they did, you'd be okay with that? Ew. Why? Why would you all of a sudden take that person back? Someone who used to think that you weren't worth anything at all. Why do you feel that this person is your end all, be all? Because I guarantee when you think about your perfect person, your soulmate, whatever, I bet you don't fantasize about getting treated like shit for 3 years until they come back and all of a sudden everything is great now. Fucking what? That is no one's fantasy. Nobody ever says, "Oh, not to worry. She'll just be an asshole for 18 months and then we're going to Disneyland. Yeah, he'll cheat on me for 2 years before realizing I'm the one. And then we'll get married." What? This is insanity. This is absolutely crazy. Even if they changed for the better, that makes everything okay now? No. No one has ever said those things in the entire history of ever. Stop caring about the change, the negative, the positive, whatever it is. They do change. You know how they change? They get worse and worse and worse. It's staggering, and you don't want to be any part of it. And if by some, I don't know, crazy circumstance, there was a positive change, isn't the damage that has been done to you already done? Isn't that enough for you to say, "You know what? I actually deserve better than this. I am going to go out and demand respect and command respect and get what I want and get what I deserve." Why would you give the person a second chance? A second chance to what? Keep treating you like shit? Isn't the damage already done? Thank you so much for listening. Have a great day, Survivor, and take care of yourself. Once a narcissist has plucked a new source of supply, and that love bombing begins all over again, something else happens too. This new person gets a whole rundown and a whole report about you. In this video, I will be discussing what the new supply already knows about you before you even know that this person exists. And I want to talk about why the narcissist does this. Number one, the new supply knows that you are completely insane. Most narcissists immediately run a smear campaign on you to their new source of supply. And this newbie is told things like, "You're crazy, you have mental problems, you really need to go and get some help. You're a child, you fly off the handle, you rage, you are so immature," and a lot of projection is happening right here. For instance, I was told the last girlfriend before me was an absolutely horrific cheater. Why, he even caught her in bed with his best friend. How tawdry, right? Right out of the soap operas. Now, in retrospect, I'm quite sure, I have a very high degree of certainty that this may have happened the other way around, if it even happened at all. All of their negative qualities, their wrongdoings, shortcomings, and so on are going to be told as if they are your qualities, your issues, and your problems. You are the habitual liar, you are the serial cheater, and things like that. Now, obviously, some of the things I go over on this list, like this one, are not necessarily true. All I'm saying is this is what the new supply believes, with little quotation marks, what they believe to know about you. This is what the narcissist is telling them. So, number two, the new supply knows that you are insanely jealous. Some narcissists like to relay to their new partner that you are a jealous psychopath and that you stalk them, you blow up their phone, you try to go to certain places to run into them. You're always on the prowl, you're always on the lookout. You want them back. You are so jealous. You want to be with them. Now, what they won't tell the new supply is things like, well, they hoover you behind the new supply's back and you reach out and you have a conversation with them. And so, while all you're doing is maybe responding to a hoover and you didn't even make the first move, it will all be twisted and made to look as if you won't leave them alone, when in fact, they will not leave you alone. They don't want you to go and be with somebody else. More projection of all of their jealousy. And this can sometimes be where a narcissist will tell the new supply to block you on social media. The new supply gets told, oh my God, they are crazy. Just block them. Block them so that you don't have to deal with this. They're going to message you. They're going to tell you all kinds of lies about me. They're going to harass you. And I want to get back to that at the end of the video because there are some points right there that I want to tie together. But for now, number 3, the new supply knows that you have serious issues. Do you drink? Maybe drugs, some bad breakups, divorced, bankruptcy, actual mental issues, just some random skeletons in your closet? Yeah, well, guess what? The new supply, they're going to know all that. Trust me, I know it happened to me. All those secrets that you told this person in confidence are going to be dished out by the plateful if the narcissist thinks it will help them groom and keep this new source of supply. All of those things that you told somebody in confidence, if the narcissist thinks it will help their victim narrative or help them get something, all of those things are going to be relayed to this new person. And of course, these things are always going to be pushed to the limit. Do you do something as simple and normal as have 3 beers on a Sunday while you watch football? Well, guess what? You're an alcoholic now who throws things around the house in a jealous rage. Did you maybe try to start a small business on your own and maybe it didn't do so hot? Guess what? Now you're some kind of moron who can't count to 11 without taking off a shoe and you're $11 billion in debt. None of these things are true. It's all exacerbated. It's all pushed to the limit, all to have that overall negative look so that the new supply can see those things, whether or not they're true. If you'd like to talk one-on-one about what you're going through, what you've gone through with a toxic narcissist, you can always send an email to bookachatwithjess@gmail.com to get some support, some coaching, and one-on-one private chats with me. Number 4, the new supply knows that you are literally the worst person alive. The narcissist desperately needs the new supply to know that you are just worthless and awful. Biggest mistake of their life. They need the new person to have an extremely, I can't stress this enough, extremely low opinion of you. And that's what all of this is obviously designed to do. As I stated, I want to tie all of this together here and now. Things like you're crazy and every other item on my list are told to the new supply for very important reasons. A, this all makes the narcissist look like a stellar victim. I mean, how awful, right? They've been through all of this terrible abuse at the hands of you. And this new person is going to swoop in, right? They're going to save them and love them and make them whole again. I mean, yeah, I guess. Funny how we were told the same thing, but we couldn't do that. I guess maybe the new person. Whew, boy, that can get confusing. But really, what a great way for someone narcissistic to get sympathy, supply, support, get more people on their team, and so on. B, this can actually boost the new supply. After getting an earful of just how much you suck, this is going to boost up the new supply. Because remember, this is usually also happening while they're being love bombed. They're going to be told how great they are, how amazing. And on top of that, then they're getting told how much better they are than you. And certain things they might say are, well, thanks for taking me to dinner tonight. My lame ass ex was never going to take me to dinner. Or they might hear something like, Thank you so much for stopping at the store for me. You really saved me a lot of time. That loser ex couldn't even be bothered to help me or take care of me or do me a favor in the slightest little bit. The new supply will get told a lot of these things that make them feel really good about themselves while also decreasing how little they think of you. C, a lot of this helps the new supply so that they will not reach out to you. After the new supply gets the lowdown on you, they're not likely very keen to reach out. Like I said, sometimes the narcissist will even encourage you to be blocked on social media. In some cases, the narcissist will even demand that you be blocked on social media. Once this person knows, quote unquote, that you're crazy, jealous, and basically a psychopath running around, guess what? Now they don't believe a single word that you say if you do reach out to them to try to warn them, which I don't recommend anyway. And this is the reason why right here. More than likely, you are not going to be believed. Now, this is yet another person the narcissist could turn against you. Even if you haven't known them at all or haven't known them very long, it doesn't matter. Now, this is somebody who will team up with the narcissist. They might go with the narc to court and call you a bad parent, a shitty worker, somebody who's just an unsavory person all around. It's another attempt to lower your reputation. There are also some situations where the new supply can be recruited as a flying monkey, and they might reach out to you, might try to stir up some drama or tell you some gossip about yourself and things like that. And despite the narc's best efforts, you might have this person reach out with questions or comments or something. Most of the time, narcs want all of their supply separate and not knowing each other. They don't need people talking. They don't need people figuring things out. You might know of this person, but they don't want their supply most of the time getting all buddy-buddy with each other. But not all relationships are the same. No two narcissists are created equal, but most of the time this is what is happening. You are dragged through the mud long before you're discarded. And as this person grooms your replacement, little nuggets of information are being told to them. You might even remember some of the things that the narc told you about their last ex before they even met you, and so on. You can probably now see a lot of those things aren't true. Like my story about the girl hopping into bed with the best friend. Yeah, right. Share with me down in the comments if you were warned about an ex. What were you told? And do you think the new supply in the situation was warned about you? What did they already know, quote unquote, about you? Share all that good new supply stuff with me in the comments below. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great day, survivor, and take care of yourself. In this video, I want to talk about the new person in the narcissist's life. I want to seriously bust some myths about the new supply and give some answers on what is really going down with this new person. Number one, the new supply isn't new. This person in the life of a narcissist may not have been there for very long, but they've been there. A narcissist can't normally just wander out and go find a new source of supply after they've discarded you. These people have to be tested. They have to be given a trial run. They need a dose of love bombing and some grooming. And for these reasons, rarely is this person brand new from the street. Again, they might not have been in the narcissist's life as a romantic interest. They might not have been in the life of the narcissist for very long before you were discarded, but they were there and they're definitely here now. They meet a person, they suck them into the harem and place them accordingly. It's kind of like, where do you stand on the totem pole kind of thing with a narcissist. We're never sure where everybody ranks with a narcissist, but there are definitely rankings. Narcissists also do this thing that's called monkey branching. Think of an adorable, tiny little monkey in the trees, just swinging along. They have one hand on the branch behind them, supporting them as they look ahead for that new branch to jump to in front of them. Well, some are nasty, mean, narky little monkeys, and they grab a new branch, but they don't let go of the old one just yet. They sit there in immature little limbo purgatory while they make sure the new branch will support them. And only once they know it's a good idea, then they let go of you completely and jump to that new branch, that new source of supply. Now, they don't always get this option. Sometimes they get dumped. Sometimes we walk away, and the narcissist doesn't know this is coming, doesn't know that this is going to hit them. And they have to scramble for a source of supply, make a quick pick, so to speak. Now, this person might be totally new, but they need to go where they feel a little bit more comfortable with a person. Even in my case, the replacement was found, I would say, probably a couple weeks before I got, the good old heave ho, the good old discard. But the narc needed to make sure that this was going to be a good fit before he let go of me completely. Of course, never said anything to me about any of this. And even the last few messages I received were very caring, filled with concern, very lovey-dovey, very attentive. And then he went and made that jump. The new supply, I promise you, is rarely ever brand new to the narcissist. They might even go back and hoover an ex, and that's definitely a source that has been there for quite some time. So to sum it all up, this new person that we have maybe been so quickly discarded for, they've probably been around longer than you think. If you'd like to talk one-on-one with me about what you're going through, what you've gone through, maybe in a toxic, abusive relationship, share more details with me and get some help in a private one-on-one setting, you can always email bookachatwithjess@gmail.com to set up those private chats with me. Number 2, I get this question all the time. Why isn't the new supply flaunted all over social media? Why aren't they just brandished and showed off and all that stuff? Why isn't the new supply there? I know there was somebody new, but it doesn't reflect as such on social media. So this could be a few different possibilities, but whatever the reason is, I want you to know it's absolutely calculated as to why the source might be shown and flaunted on social media or why it isn't. A narcissist never forgets to post something on social media. It is very curated and very planned, whether they are there or they're not. But firstly, they might be cheating on the new supply. Yep, you heard me, already cheating. They always have more than one source of supply. And just because this is the newest one, well, they're not really new for very long. I'm sure you know that. The new supply might even be the other man, woman, whatever. They might not even be the primary source. They're just someone who's new. So they might be getting cheated on. And if there's a different person, well, we can't have all these people knowing about this on social media. Now, can we? Secondly, the new supply might be nowhere in sight because the narcissist probably wants to give off a single vibe on their social media. And putting that they are in a relationship can certainly slow an influx of new supply coming into play. But this also might happen. The new supply also might be hidden if the narcissist has picked a source of supply that isn't very attractive, maybe, or doesn't have a whole lot going for them. Maybe there's something negative about them that the narcissist does not like. Maybe they have a lot of kids, or maybe they don't have a high profile job. Maybe they post silly or embarrassing things to the narcissist on social media. There's something negative there, and the narcissist does not want to deal with that. The narcissist needs to maintain that correct, certain false image of themselves. So that can also be a reason. Thirdly, just like everything else with a narcissist, this is all about power and control. It's always about power and control. The new supply might be being gaslighted, devalued, and minimized. They probably already are, as a way to control them. A lot of narcissists will say things when it comes to social media like, why do you care if it says we're in a relationship on social media? You're like really obsessed with this. This is like really over the top. You need to get some help. That's gaslighting. That's very devaluing. It's very minimizing, and it can make a person feel terrible. So they might hear something along those lines, and they walk away feeling bad about themselves for even asking and wondering if maybe they have a social media addiction just because the narcissist doesn't want to say they're in a relationship. The new supply might have met this narcissist on a dating site or a dating app, and they might get told that the narcissist doesn't have social media. I've been on dating sites in my life, and I have been told a time or two, I don't use any social media. Oh, bullshit. They might not be spending 12 hours a day on Twitter, but every narcissist has some kind of social media accounts. It's too tempting and too easy to get so many sources of supply, so many void fillers, people to help cure their endless boredom. I mean, even here on YouTube, they have social media and YouTube channels and profiles. So, but that could be another common thing. I don't use social media. And like I say, I've even heard that myself. And this is basically their way to have their cake and eat it too. The narc I was with made a whole Facebook page after talking about how much he hated Facebook. I found it and never said anything. And within a week or so, there were over 100 women on there, then 200 women. And was I told that there was a Facebook page? Nope. Did he say he was with me on that Facebook page? Nope. Were we even friends? Nope. He was wearing the clothes I bought him, though. Just saying. But another reason this can also be a really good time to come in with some drama, because we know they love drama, and some triangulation. They might say something along the lines of, I can't put you on my social media yet. It might hurt my ex, or I can't put you on social media yet. I have to make sure that we're really in this for the long haul. I need to know that you're really committed to me, or my ex really misses me, so I'm trying to be considerate of their feelings. Now, those are some jealousy, sparky, dramatic little things to say for the narcissist. And they can also say something like, wow, you're jealous of me trying to protect someone I used to care about. Wow, you sound really selfish. Why do you care so much? I'm over here trying to do the right thing. You would want me to do this for you, right? Wouldn't you want me to protect you if I was seeing somebody new? And you're over here acting all crazy on me. Again, gaslighting, telling you that you're crazy, that you're jealous, that you're obsessive, that you need help. And it might spark some jealousy. They're with somebody new, but they're telling you how much the ex misses them and all that kind of stuff. So you can just see it's a big ball of craziness, confusion, gaslighting, and frankly, emotional abuse. So take your pick, really, why they're not posting this person. It's usually a combination of these things, but rest assured, really, in the big scheme of things, it doesn't really matter why they are or are not posting this person. Number 3, why did the narcissist downgrade with their news supply? The news supply might be what some people would call a downgrade. And I don't mean to insult anybody when I say this, but what I mean by this is maybe you gave them a beautiful, fancy, expensive home to live in, but now they've left you for someone who lives in like a little tiny apartment. Or maybe you make great money or you're really successful with your career, but now they're with somebody who isn't as fortunate or as hardworking as you are, and they don't have as much financially to offer. Maybe they're with somebody who doesn't seem as attractive as maybe you feel you are, whatever the case may be. In some way, shape, or form, you feel that they have somehow downgraded with this new person. In some ways, it might seem to you like the narcissist has given up something that they really value to be with this new person who doesn't have those things. And it can be very confusing. Well, why leave me when I have A, B, C, and this person doesn't even have A? Well, what are you doing? Narcissists might downgrade if they have to scramble maybe to find someone new. Perhaps you broke up with them. Maybe you left very abruptly and they thought they had a great thing, but nope, it just fell short. Sometimes they just downgrade to purposefully piss you off. Look, I think so little of you. This is what I'm going to do. And now I'm going to shove it in your face and blast it all over social media. Sometimes, while this new person might not have everything that you did, they do have one thing over you. And the new person will always have this over you. They're new. The narcissist can't fool you anymore, regardless of what you can offer to them or give them. They need more supply, more attention, more time. They need someone new who won't ask any questions, someone new who doesn't understand what it really is. So what bothers you the most about the new supply? Maybe you were unbothered by this. Share your stories with me down in the comments. Thank you so much for listening today. Please subscribe if you haven't for more videos on narcissistic abuse. Like the video to help this reach even more people and spread more awareness. Have a great day, survivor, and take care of yourself. How is a narcissist so good at moving people right along from stranger to love interest and beyond? How do they sink their claws in so fast and never let go? And why do so many people fall victim to this? Today, I'll be discussing how a narcissist grooms their supply and how they can do this so incredibly fast. Number one, empathy. Now, hang on a minute. One of the key signs of narcissistic personality disorder is a sheer lack of empathy. So, how do they lure in so many people with something that they don't even really seem to have? Well, it's not that narcissists don't have empathy. They just don't have like authentic empathy, for lack of a better way to say it. They kind of replicate it. It's called cognitive empathy. Other people call it cold empathy. Highly narcissistic people understand that in the beginning of relationships, the beginning of all this, they need to do this. They realize they need to do everything on this list. But when things first start with the person, the narcissist needs to make a supply source feel as comfortable as possible. And they have to do this with a lot of speed. They have to look non-threatening, and empathy, or cold empathy, is just a very good way to do this. Why? Because it builds trust. This is where all of this begins right from the start. They seem overly concerned about you, your well-being, hyper-focused on what you need, what you want, what you like. They learn everything about you. They do this quickly, as we'll see with everything on the list. They need to learn with great speed what makes you happy, but more importantly, they need to learn what makes you open up, feel comfortable, feel safe and secure, and what makes you trusting. They need to get that trust from you, and empathy is a good way to do that. Number two, love bombing. I know I don't have to spend too much time on love bombing. I've talked about it a great deal. I have a whole playlist on it here on my channel if you want to check it out. But this is where a lot of, oh, it's too good to be true. This is a fantasy. This is a dream. That's where all this stuff begins to come into play. They love everything about you. They obsess over you. They just want to walk around and worship you and the ground that you walk on. Love and gifts, overwhelming time, attention, compliments, it's all lavished on you. And you'll also get bits and pieces of love bombing throughout the relationship to keep you coming back in your mind to this little part of the relationship where every day, all day long is so great. But that actually taps into something else that I want to touch on a little bit later. And again, if you want more on love bombing, playlist here on my channel, you're welcome to check it out. Number three, mirroring. Mirroring is a great psychological trick, and it's always used in conjunction with love bombing to make this process, if you can believe it, actually go faster. Mirroring is just simply what it says. They might take on some of your personality traits, some of your characteristics. They mirror you right back into your face. They hate what you hate, love what you love. Their favorite color just so happens to be yours. Mirroring can trick you into thinking you've known this person a lot longer than you actually have. But in reality, you have known this person a long time because it's essentially you. Again, it builds more trust, builds safety, security, ability to trust, but it also makes you think that, oh, these pieces just fit together so right. I mean, this one has to be the one. Look how meant to be it is. Look how similar we are. So it's kind of doing two things at once. If you'd like to talk one-on-one about what you're going through, what you've gone through in a toxic relationship with a narcissist, you can always send an email to bookachatwithjess@gmail.com to set up private one-on-one sessions with me. Number four, some good old investigative work. And this one is actually quite sneaky. The narcissist will begin digging around for information about you. However, it actually looks like nothing more than them asking questions and getting to know you better. And to an untrained eye, it looks like someone who has very genuine interest in you. They want to know the good, the bad, and the ugly. They're just into you, and they just want every little morsel of information they can get. They might even tell you things like, well, they want to get into deeper conversations with you. It'll make them feel closer to you, more connected to you. You'll get on a higher level. And that's around the time where most of them start asking you to tell them about your problems, your dreams, your fears, your goals, and so on. And again, this makes you feel like this person is really interested in you, and they are. But unfortunately, it's far more sinister than that. The narcissist takes all of this information that you're willing to give because it's nice to have someone appear to have genuine interest in you. So most people do open right up. Most people just want to be heard. And once they get a listening ear, it just all kind of comes out. So narcs take all this, they throw out what doesn't work for them, and they hold on to the things that might benefit them in the future, things they can call back to, criticize you for, hold over your head, and so much more. Number 5, the half lies and the half truths. In order for you to buy into some of the more outlandish craziness that you're going to hear in the devaluing, discarding, and hoovering phases with this person, a narcissist lies to you right from the get-go. They're blending some facts with some lies. You will never completely know what's going on. You will never know what is a flat-out truth, what is a flat-out lie, and you won't even realize in the beginning that this is happening to you, but it's exactly what the narcissist is counting on. In the beginning, trust is never higher. That's the whole thing they're after, is to get your trust and to look non-threatening. You will believe the half-truths, the half-lies, and all the other garbage in between because you won't know any better. None of us do. I certainly didn't. And this is all done now so that once you begin to catch on that everything is lies and nothing makes sense, you'll be gaslighted. Or you'll begin to gaslight yourself, second guess yourself about things that you've been told. You might even begin to make excuses for the behavior. You'll find yourself, once again in the devaluing stages, constantly referencing the beginning when things were good, although it was never really good because you were being lied to and abused right from the start, and every other supply source is. We just don't realize it at the time. We're never sure what we're told. The half-truth, the half-lie, and all the other bullshit in between. Number 6, codependency and trauma bonding. And this is where I want to tie in my point from when I was talking about love bombing a little bit earlier in the video. You will get bits and pieces of love bombing throughout the relationship. It won't ever be as good as the real love bombing phase in the beginning. It'll never be that good, but it's called positive intermittent reinforcement. Some people just call it intermittent reinforcement, and I'm sure there's other words for it, what have you, but this is how the trauma bond forms. A narcissist needs you to be completely dependent on them. They need that codependency in you to be fueled, jealousy, insecurity, you're wanting that love bombing back and everything else. And they need to be the one who fans that flame. They need you coming back over and over, despite what you're going through in those moments. Codependency and being trauma bonded are 2 major reasons for people staying in narcissistic relationships longer than they should and putting up with the behavior far longer than they should, being more receptive to the hoovers, begging for someone to come back, and the like. There's a trauma bond, there's an addiction, there's codependency. A lot of victims even get told things like, well, you can't live without me. What are you going to do without me? They're told this by the narcissist. And that can get into a lot of people's heads and mess with them. They get nostalgic. They miss the love bombing because they're getting that intermittent love. So they're waiting and riding out the shitstorm, hoping for the sunset on the other side, day after day, year after year. That is a huge issue. But here's the problem. The person knows at some point they'll get a dose of the feel-goods. They'll get a text, a phone call, flowers, whatever it is that they're looking for. They know it's going to come at some point. However, they are not in control of when that happens. The narcissist is the one who breadcrumbs. The narcissist is in control while they lead this person along. I'll give you something. I know exactly what you like. And I'll give you a small hit of that because I know you really need it. But I control when you get it. And I also control what you have to do to get it. All these things working together is how a narcissist gets people to just fall for them so quickly. This is how they groom And they master this almost flawlessly as they work on it over time with all of these techniques. If you want more awareness, education, and support on narcissistic abuse and narcissistic relationships, I encourage you to subscribe to my channel. If you'd like to support my work here, there are links in the description for you to do that as well. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great day, survivor, and take care of yourself. Will someone that a narcissist has moved into a new relationship with ever try to reach out to you? Why would they reach out to you? It can definitely be a possibility. In this video, I'll be discussing why somebody who is a new source of supply for a narcissist might reach out to you, what all of that means, and how you handle it if it is something that happens to you. First things first, there's actually a number of different reasons why a new person who's dating a narcissist that you were involved with might want to talk to you. And I've kind of broken it down into two sections. The first group of reasons I want to go over is when the narcissist has told them to reach out to you and do a certain set of things. And then we'll move on to, of course, when they reach out to you and it's kind of not at the request of the narcissist. So the narcissist has told them to reach out to you, and it could be for one or potentially more, really. Let's say what it is here, of the following reasons. They might reach out to flaunt the new relationship in your face. They might reach out to you and tell you they're with the narcissist now. They're so happy. They're gonna fix everything you couldn't, and you suck, and you're terrible, and they know all about you. And this is usually what happens when a narcissist doesn't have the courage to do those things for themselves. There's also a couple other reasons behind something like this, but we'll get to that a little later on. They also, of course, really enjoy ganging up on people, triangulating people. As we know, this is a great way to triangulate, and this is a great way to make a person a scapegoat and gang up, because two is always better than one, of course. They might be trying to get you to do something for the narcissist. They might reach out and tell you, well, you should do this for this person, or hand over a laundry list of things that maybe the narcissist wants in the divorce. Might be kids or custody related, usually to which this new person in the narc's life knows nothing about, and it's frankly none of their business. They might even come to you and attempt to play nicely to get you to do something or give something to the narcissist. It's also highly possible that they could try to gaslight you and tell you that you're being mean to the narcissist about something, or you're really being unreasonable, or you're really being difficult, to attempt to convince you that that's what's happening, when in reality, it isn't. The narcissist is the one not really playing very fair in that moment. The new supply could potentially be tasked with gathering information for the narcissist. So you might get a really inflammatory but extremely transparent text message like, could you leave my girlfriend alone, or boyfriend, whatever, respectively? Could you leave this person alone? I'm with them now. And it's very clear that it's bait. It's very clear that it's a trick to get you to say, I'm not talking to them unless I need to get a hold of them about something. I don't really care. I'm in a new relationship. And that was really what they were hinting at all along, was to get you to say whether or not you're in a new relationship. And now they have that bit of information. They might say, hey, this person wants some of their stuff back, ABCXYZ, doesn't matter. To which you might say, listen, I don't have it. I sold it. I got rid of it, or whatever. And they're gathering little bits and pieces of information for the narcissist. It's possible, as I just said a few minutes ago, that you could be gaslighted by the new supply. They might get a hold of you and tell you you're insane, you need help, and they might be doing this because the narcissist has, of course, run a smear campaign and given them an earful of usually false and awful information about you. So now they come to you with this new information that they were so excited to learn, and they can read you the riot act, again, at the request of the narcissist. You might hear from a new person if the narcissist, honestly, just wants to see if they can make the new person do the dirty work. Remember, relationships with highly narcissistic people are all about two things: power and control. They honestly, in a lot of cases, just want to see what they can get this person to do. Even more twisted, and it might have even happened with you. It could be something that bonds them together. You know, narcissists are very up, down, left, right, black, white. It's you and me against the world. You love me or you hate me. So This could even be something that they bond over. They team up together, and you, of course, are the enemy. Like I say, it can be part of the love bombing, bringing them closer together for the moment, because that's what we know narcissists do. That's the way they behave. They build you up and pull you close to be able to bring you back down later on as they begin to devalue. If you'd like to talk one-on-one about what you're going through or what you've gone through in a toxic, abusive relationship with someone highly narcissistic, you can always send an email to bookachatwithjess@gmail.com to have one-on-one private chats with me. There are some times when the new supply might reach out. And again, like I say, this is section 2, and the narcissist has not asked them to do so. The narcissist is moving on and doing something else, doing their thing. Maybe they can't really much be bothered with you. Maybe a more significant amount of time has gone by, whatever, but they can reach out to you without the narcissist knowing or asking them to do so. And it might be because the narcissist has caused them some kind of insecurity, right? And now they're looking for answers. A narcissist, as we know, can and will plant little seeds of doubt in your mind and shine a spotlight on insecurities and make people upset. And they, of course, also behave very inappropriately and do a whole bunch of things they have no business doing. And that does eventually put the new supply on high alert. So a lot of people, when the relationship begins to deteriorate, they begin to get cheated on or get devalued, they will reach out to an ex if they feel like something is going on and they want answers. Answers they're not getting, obviously, from their partner. So this person's acting this way. They have no idea why. And so in a moment of need, they reach out to an ex. Similarly, it could be because the narcissist has caused them to feel jealousy, and they might reach out to you and tell you to back off. Perhaps they feel threatened by you. The narcissist hasn't told them to go to you and say anything, but they might be using triangulation. They might be talking about you an awful lot to make the news supply really upset. But they haven't told this person to come and talk to you. And this is where they might text you or what have you not and tell you, again, like I said in the beginning, well, we're together now, you better back off, so on and so forth. Yeah, there's no sign clearer that somebody isn't happy in a relationship than someone who walks around and talks about how happy they are. That's like some really funny shit right there. But I got a nice combination of these 2 points about little more than 2 years after my discard. This super aggressive, angry woman started off by trying to throw it in my face that he was her man now, to which I said, I'm sorry to hear that. She then went on to name call me and try to say a whole bunch of things about me that obviously weren't true, that he had told her when I got a smear campaign, like I say, call me names. And then she proceeded to tell me again that they're together and they have a baby now, which I already knew through the grapevine. These people's social media is like a soap opera, and they publicly broadcast it all because they're so dumb. But to which I also apologized because, well, now you're stuck with this person for a long time, and that's very sad. So it came about that she wanted to talk to me, and she very quickly made a direct turn from trying to insult me to now wanting to talk to me and get my side of the story and ask me questions. I told her that this person isn't who you think they are, and I'm sure you're aware of that, or you wouldn't be here talking to me where you clearly can't decide, do you want to flaunt this garbage in my face or do you want to get information? And she was then very abruptly blocked. Oh, and they aren't together anymore, if you're curious. Nonetheless, I know that they can reach out to you because, again, this happened to me personally, and this was years, honest to God, at least 2.5 years after my discard. And I was viciously attacked for things that I didn't even do, that if they did happen, it was years ago. So they also might accuse you and gaslight you on behalf of the narcissist, but again, they just haven't been told to do this. What happens is they begin to defend the narcissist. So when the narcissist plays like they're the sad little victim, oh, here's all this terrible stuff that this person's done to me, the new supply might react on the narcissist's behalf, even though the narc didn't necessarily tell them to do that. And there's actually a bunch of other stuff. Most of those things that I listed are things they do through email, texting, trying to call you on the phone, things like that, that you don't have to necessarily do in person. There are plenty of things they can do to you. They can approach your job or do the drive by your home. They can write you threatening letters or, things like that and stick them in your mailbox. They can try to be buddy buddy with you, show up at your door, harass you on social media. Really, they could make your life miserable if they wanted to, if the narcissist can also brainwash them into wanting to do that. Because I can't understand who would want to do that. I felt very sorry for this person who tried to come to me and talk to me because they sounded very confused. They sounded very upset. And again, this person couldn't decide, did they want to throw this in my face or did they want to play nice with me and get information? Did they want my side of the story? And it was really very sad, the few messages that we did share back and forth before I chose to not entertain it anymore. So how do you handle this? Honestly, I'm just going to be transparent as always. You're an adult. Any way you choose to handle this is what's right for you. There's no way for me to tell you what's right for you. This is up to you. Again, I'm going to share my experience. I was, and frankly still am, willing to talk to somebody who is with this person that I was with, unfortunately, if I think I can help them. However, if I'm approached by a child who's going to yell or scream or throw things in my face, try to make me feel bad, whatever, jealous, I guess, ugh, gross, but whatever. I'm not talking to anybody like that if they're not going to be an adult. That's me though. But if someone did approach me as an adult, I would answer a few questions, but still I'm not going to get way extracurricular with it. Anything that I say to anybody else about this person in particular who's highly narcissistic, anything I say can so very quickly be swept away with a little bit of love bombing, some victim mentality, and some gaslighting. I did tell this person that the narc was a liar and a cheater, and you don't know half the story and you have no idea what you're talking about. This person who reached out to me also stayed for a considerable amount of time. So the few things I did say didn't even hit home anyway. And that's why I say, if you choose to entertain this, that's fine. Don't expect them to leave the relationship or stop talking to this person. And with that information, maybe just answer a few questions and just let it go. You certainly don't have to if you don't want to. 9 times out of 10, it's honestly just a really big waste of time. Not always, but you'll have to gauge that for yourself. If someone's behavior gets absolutely out of control, don't deal with any of that. This is where you block, get restraining orders, file stalking charges, whatever you need to do to protect yourself. Save emails, save texts, get everything in black and white that you possibly can, get cameras installed, learn how to play the game, so on and so forth. Because we have to teach these people that we don't play. So, did this happen to you? Share it with me down in the comments and tell me how you handled it. Did you entertain it? Did you not? Hell, are you friends with this person now? Thanks very much for listening today. Please subscribe if you want more information on narcissistic abuse. Have a great day, survivor, and take care of yourself. Did you end a relationship with someone who seems to have a mountain of narcissistic tendencies? Did they maybe discard you in a cold, cruel way? If the relationship is over, why are they still continuously reaching out to you and chasing you? Why are they still hoovering and hanging around even though they have a brand new shiny toy to love bomb and gaslight? Well, in this video, I'll be discussing why a narcissist chases you even though they have seemingly moved on with a new source of supply. Number 1, narcissists hate to lose. If you're the one who ended the friendship or romantic relationship with this person, chances are the narcissist has suffered a blow to the ego, a narcissistic injury. And when their little feelings get hurt, it can certainly be the way of things that they continuously reach out and try to hoover and try to get your attention, even when they've found someone new. Some narcissists even hoover and attempt to love bomb old sources, honestly, just to see if they can get that person to return back to them, only for the narcissist to, once again, have the upper hand and walk away on their own terms. Highly narcissistic people can often be competitive and have an almost obsessive need to be right and to win, quote unquote. So, in cases like this, you'll see them chase you when all they really want to do is feel like they have finally won. Number two, narcissists have harems. Why just have one person in their lives? Maybe the narcissist can have their new source, but still have you too, others as well. The more the merrier is definitely one motto for a narcissist. They have harems, collections of people who they cycle through, some on a regular basis and some on an irregular basis as well. The exes they hoover, the old flames, the new supply, the coworkers, the associates, the family, the kids, the friends, the flying monkeys. It's a very, very long list. We're not even talking about the people on social media. Narcissists are selfish people, obviously, and they want every single person they can get their hands on. They feel entitled to be a part of everything and everyone, and they need all those choices if they feel a person might be of good use to them. Number three, narcissists are incredibly possessive. Along the same lines, narcissists love to collect people, and these are really, really possessive people. I know it doesn't make sense, especially if a narcissist has discarded you. I mean, what a clear message that someone doesn't want you and doesn't want anything to do with you. But most discards are really only temporary, or so they're really only meant to be temporary. Most narcissists hoover. And so while they take a break for 3 months or a year, you're supposed to just be waiting for them. They feel as if they own you. They're entitled to you, but they just want to go play with something else right now. So it's your job to be cool, hang out while they carry on. And this possessive nature is a lot of why a narcissist will continue to go after you even when they've moved on and have new supply and they've set up shop somewhere else. I mean, why not keep as many people in their harem as possible? And as far as a narcissist is concerned, yeah, they don't want you right now, but it's just like the pair of shoes in your closet that you're not wearing. You still own it. It's still yours. You're just not wearing it right now. And that is how a narcissist thinks of everyone in their harem. We're inanimate objects. And when the narcissist isn't paying attention to us, we sit and wait for them to return. If you'd like to talk with me one-on-one and get some help and support for what you're going through from a survivor, you can click the link down in the description of this video below to set up an appointment. If you want more information or if you would like to set up a session a different way, you're free to reach out by email. And that email is bookachatwithjess@gmail.com. Number 4, narcissists love what they don't have. There are narcissists out there who, I mean, we just have to be really, really honest about what this is. They just love a good chase. You know why? Just because they don't actually want to rekindle anything or be in a new relationship. Let's start over with a friendship. They want to see if they can get you to come back. They might want to see if maybe they can get you to leave your new partner for them or leave this new friend group that you've joined to come back and be friends with them. It's oddly funny to me that narcissists seem to chase the ones they can't have like clockwork, almost religiously. They chase these people, but they get really bored of the ones who they can very easily get their hands on, causing this like really vicious cycle. They chase and chase until they obtain, and then poof, bored now, who's next? It's because narcs have the attention span of a moth, but nonetheless, here we are at number 5. Narcs get bored fast, and piggybacking right off my last point, attention span of a moth. And they don't have as much supply as you think they do, as they want you to think they do. Yeah, they'll be back. Leave them alone long enough, they'll come back. The poor little folks can't help themselves sometimes. The narcissist may very well have a new supply, but you know what? Guess what happens? Remember how bored this person got of you, how angry they got at you, how they ignored you, how fed up they got at you? Well, they haven't changed one bit, so guess what? It won't take long until the new supply loses their luster too. And then guess what? Hey, it gets to be your turn again. Isn't that exciting for you? These people are always bored. They always need a chase, excitement. They need to just, I mean, you got to say it. They occasionally want to stir up some bullshit, and that's what they do. Number 6, narcissists need their drama and their ego boost. Narcissists are cold blooded animals. Sick burn, I know, but also they need you and others to keep their self esteem afloat. It is your responsibility, and everybody else in their harem, by the way, to love them, to chase them, worship them, fear them, love them, validate them, blah, 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 and so on. You know as well as I do that to keep a person like this pleased, hell, you do need a whole crew of people to attempt to accomplish this Herculean task. And you know what? Even then, it still won't be enough. They need the sparks of drama and jealousy. They need to fight and be right, own everything, make sure it's nothing but the best. I mean, honestly, their ego, it demands that they do this. It will settle for nothing less than this. This is like bare minimum. And these are all reasons why a narcissist will absolutely keep coming after you, chasing you, hoovering you, begging for you to come back, even if they have a new person or even new people in their lives. But you might know other reasons why a narcissist hangs on even after there's new supply. So if you do, tell me down in the comments. Thanks so much for listening. Please like and subscribe for more videos about narcissism and narcissistic abuse every week. Have a great day, survivor, and take care of yourself. It always seems like the new person in the narcissist's life, their new supply, has this wonderful relationship that they've just entered into with this amazing person. But what you're actually seeing is a narcissist hard at work, love bombing, gaslighting, and brainwashing a new person, getting them to lower their standards, their values, and of course their expectations so that a narcissist can do as they please. A narcissist doesn't pick a new person and decide to change. In fact, they leave old relationships and friendships and find new ones because they don't have any intention of changing. And this is simply the easiest route. Well, I don't want to work on this relationship or friendship. I don't want to all of a sudden have self-reflection, work on this and get better. No, I'll just go and find something new. They have no intention of changing. Simply find somebody new, start this process all over again. So in this video, I will discuss a little bit further and explain why the new supply in the narcissist's life will not be treated any differently than anyone else. But I also want to make a few points on why this new person, the new supply, isn't really even that great anyway. And I'm not insulting anybody. I'm saying as far as the narcissist is concerned, the new supply is shiny and new, but that doesn't necessarily equal awesome source of supply. I mentioned love bombing, and yes, this is typically what most narcissists do as they try to lure and coax in a new source of supply. They become the savior, the hero, they look great on paper. They tell sob stories of a terrible past, stories filled with bad relationships and unavailable friends, terrible family that just couldn't cut the mustard. All sources that a narcissist chooses gets love bombed. And as we know, not all of us are created equal. So different folks will get different kinds of love bombing, different variants of love bombing, but it's up to the narcissist to sort out what kind of love bombing and how strong the love bombing is for each individual person. It's kind of like the love language thing that we've all heard about. For some people, they need acts of service, someone to help us do things. For other people, it's gifts or kind words, time, attention, and so on. And the narcissist figures out very quickly what you need. They also figure out how little they actually need to give you in order for you to do what they want. And this is typically how we're sucked in with love bombing. And this happens with the new supply as well. But this is why you'll see different tricks and tactics employed by the narcissist. Maybe they take a trip, but the two of you never did that. Maybe you got the trip, but the new supply gets a different form of love bombing. Whatever it is, whatever happens to you or to the new person when they're being love bombed, it's all essentially done to lower inhibitions and suck the new person in all the same. It's all the same. It doesn't really matter. When we see a narcissist on the clock, hardworking, and love bombing away, it's easy for a lot of people, I feel, to look at that and go, wow, look what this person is getting that I didn't. Look how they're being treated. Wow, this is amazing what this new person is getting. And that's where I have to come in with the possibly a little too harsh, but I don't care. Well, duh, they're getting love bombed. You got love bombed. I did. We all did in some way, shape, or form. And we were over the moon on cloud nine about it, of course. However, it's not called the narcissistic cycle of abuse for no reason. It is just that, a cycle. And after love bombing comes the next step, and it will always happen, devaluing. Just like us, the newbie is only new for a certain amount of time. And that's normally about 3 to 6 months, sometimes less, sometimes a little bit more, but 3 to 6 months is a pretty good mark to kind of set it at. Just as the whole like honeymoon phase is wearing off and folks are settling into a more mature, adult, committed relationship, this is when the narcissist becomes bored. They've learned about this person, wooed them, chased them, been chased, slept with them, got what they wanted. And it's kind of like a 5-year-old looking at a pile of toys for their birthday. Okay, yeah, this one's great, but it's been a whole 30 seconds. Where's my next present? They're ready for something new. But what happens? What happens when the honeymoon is over and the love bombing fades? Why does it fade? Well, again, the narcissist gets bored really quickly. That's something to keep in mind. And on top of that, they constantly want something new. They want the torrid love affairs, and it's sneaky and dramatic, chaotic, exciting, and all of that. They love fighting, and we know how all that goes. Once we move from love bombing and get into devaluing, it's also because the new supply isn't anymore what the narcissist wanted. They thought it was at the time, but narcissists, as we know, become very quickly not only bored, but very disenchanted with people because no one is perfect and they were expecting this new source to be perfect. Maybe they appeared to be perfect at the beginning of the relationship because narcs go too far too fast and don't get to know a person very well. The new supply will fail with a narcissist. Nobody can meet the high expectations a narcissist has day in and day out consecutively for the rest of ever. It is an absolute impossibility. So now the new supply isn't meeting expectations. They probably have expectations of their own for the narcissist that the narcissist is purely uninterested in. The narc is bored, and yeah, poof, here we are. It's all downhill from here for the new supply. Think about what happened with you. How did you go from golden to garbage? When did the fairy tale turn into an absolute nightmare? The way that it went with you is probably a very similar way that it will go with the new source of supply. If you'd like to talk privately about what you're going through with a narcissist, have someone to vent to, get some help and support from a fellow survivor who understands, you can send an email to bookachatwithjess@gmail.com to set up one-on-one chat sessions with me. So our value and the value of the new supply gets lower over time. And after a few months or so, we're just flat out not as desirable to the narcissist as we were before. No different with the new supply. This is when the narcissist and the new supply make that transition into devaluing. Once all that fluffy bunny garbage is over, the narcissist devalues. They have to. They're not getting that primo supply, that love bombing. So they need to get their kicks, their attention, their ego boost, and their supply a different way. Narcissists are also obsessed with power and control. If and when they feel like they're losing power and control from this person, the devaluing will actually worsen. A narcissist needs to make their new supply and every other source of supply feel confused, trapped, as though they can't do better, that they are in fact the problem. They're not doing enough. They're not good enough. Affairs are going to start to happen within the relationship, physical and or emotional. New supply is always being sought after in the devaluing stage. As soon as that devaluing begins to happen, their head is already on a swivel looking for somebody else. But until a proper replacement can be found, the narcissist still needs supply and attention from you. They're just getting it differently now because they are into the devaluing stage with the new supply. They pick fights with this person instead of going on dates. They gaslight instead of love bomb. But ultimately, devaluing fails. It won't be enough to keep the narcissist in a relationship. And a narcissist will discard once they feel that they have sufficient supply found that can take the place. And this can take a while in some cases, but they might also carry on long term affairs without necessarily discarding the new source or current source, what have you. But there's literally no relationship left between the two people. The new supply is not some special savior who can do something you can't. The only way a new supply will ever truly succeed in their relationship with a narcissist is if they manage to maybe stay longer or maybe get married if you didn't, or have kids if you didn't, or something like that. If they stay longer than you in the relationship, put up with more than you did. But really have to ask you, is that winning? Is that success? Let's say, for example, you were abused for 2 years. You were in a 2-year relationship, but the new supply, they have been with this person for 4 years. So this person has gone through 4 years of abuse. Yippee, I guess. I guess they win if that's how you really qualify winning and being in a relationship with a narcissist. But let's spill the real tea here. The new supply isn't even so great anyway, and I have a few reasons why. The new supply might just be a narcissistic conquest. And by that, I mean, sometimes a narcissist will chase and love bomb and give off this appearance that they want a relationship, a friendship, what have you with this person, when frankly, all they're after is an ego boost. You're a notch in the headboard, a drop in the bucket, no more and no less. So they chase somebody that they find really desirable, really attractive, whatever, just to see if they can bag the person. It's no more and no less. And sometimes they fall ass backwards into a relationship with this person, but they started out as nothing more than a conquest, an ego boost. There will be no emotional connection there, I promise you. Another thing to keep in mind is narcissists will never be happy. Narcissists are missing a lot of things and have a lot of issues internally. They're seeking happiness, love, validation, etc. externally from other people, all their little sources in that hierarchy that is their harem of supply. However, when we're missing something inside ourselves and we don't know how to love ourselves, we don't know how to validate ourselves and care for ourselves, this is never going to go anywhere. Listen, it's no one else's job to provide you happiness. You know that old saying that life's what you make it? That's 100% true, but the narcissist won't take on that job. They make all of those responsibilities and issues your job or the new supply or whoever, and that is going to fail. You can't take somebody else's happiness, love, joy, soul, spirit, feed off of it, cram it into yourself and think that that's going to work. It doesn't. Narcissists are miserable, unhappy little creatures, and we can see this very clear and transparently, I might add, in how they behave. No one's secure about themselves, feeling good and positive and happy, needs to bully others into submission, frankly, and use fear and scare tactics to get their way. This is really, really gross bullying, among other things. And frankly, survivor, it's completely pathetic. When a soul can find no happiness, why would the new supply be this end-all, be-all that magically makes something happen and fix it? Yeah, that's not how any of this works. The narcissist is restless and will keep looking for something that they need to find inside themselves. Whether they have the capacity to find it or not, I don't really care. I'm not here to teach a narcissist how to get better. Another reason the new supply isn't hot shit is frankly because the narcissist has possibly just made a scramble pick. A scramble pick is what I call the person who the narc runs out real quick and holds on to for dear life when no good or desirable source can be found. However, the narcissist more than likely won't let on that, this person is kind of like the last resort. So you might be sitting there and upset and jealous and heartbroken over a person who the narc isn't even thrilled with anyway. And again, there's no emotional connection here. It's, hey, I don't want to be alone. Hey, I want to shove the fact I'm in a new relationship in somebody else's face. I want them to feel bad. I'm just here because I need attention. There's no real connection with this new person. Unfortunately, the new supply just doesn't know that yet. If the narc does seem thrilled with this new person, I mean, frankly, just give it 6 months and then wish you could be a fly on the wall because you'll never truly know what's going on behind closed doors. Except you will because you've been behind closed doors with them. So you probably know how this is going to go. And this is what happens to the new supply in the end. More than likely, at least 90% of what happened to you is going to happen to the new supply and the one after that, just like the one before you and the one after that and the one before you. You know, this is a disorder. People with disorders pretty much do the same thing. And I always relate this to hoarding disorder. Well, hoarders, frankly, they hoard, but some hoard trash and garbage and some hoard antiques and treasures, but they all hoard. It's a disorder. They do the same general types of things, just slightly differently than others because no two people are the same. This is a cycle, the narcissistic cycle. And cycles kind of, they they cycle. This is what's always going to happen. Love bomb, devalue, discard, and subsequent hoover over and over and over again. Thanks so much for listening. Please subscribe for more videos on narcissistic abuse awareness, education, and of course, support. Have a great day, survivor, and take care of yourself. This video will go over some of the top reasons why a narcissist's new flame is actually a downgrade and not a step up, but maybe a step in the other direction. Or so we might think. The narcissist needs the chase. This new person might seem like a downgrade. Maybe they're younger and therefore more naive. Perhaps they seem not as educated. Now, I'm not talking these people down, but there are definitely very specific reasons why narcs choose certain people and make them the new supply. Narcissists need to feel important and powerful, as always. They need to be in full control. Younger, more naive people and others can just seem more fun to chase, again, as far as a narc is concerned. Narcs need this. The ego has to win. They have to find somebody that they can chase that's fun, but they need to make sure it's someone that they can catch. If they actually want to catch them, of course. So yes, this new person is unaware of whom they're dealing with, and that's all part of the selection process too. New doesn't mean better. New means unaware. It's a new chase, new fun, new thrills with somebody who seems like maybe they're just kind of downgrade. The narcissist changes up what they want. We all know full well that someone super narky is never satisfied with what they have. So you might see them with a person who has like a different hair color. Maybe they're a vastly different height from you, a different ethnicity or religion. And this can cause us to think that this person is a downgrade. Well, clearly this person wasn't their first pick because look at them. They don't look anything like me or like their other exes. And that just might simply not be the case. A person might look at this and assume that because they're with a new supply who looks different or acts different, that they've settled. Like I say, they've just gone out and grabbed this. And no, not always. Narcissists always want something different, and they always want someone different, and of course, new as well. A complete overhaul and change to a drastically new person might actually be exactly what the narcissist was going for. If they feel wronged, for example, by a blonde or a brunette, maybe they feel like they got burned, or even maybe a sassy redhead is the one that did it, they might go for somebody who has a complete different hair color or hairstyle, or in some way, shape, or form seems completely different. The narcissist needs full stock. You get worn down over time. We all do. Lots of people call narcissists emotional, financial, and mental little vampires. And it's true. They take and they take until there's just about nothing left. And in the end, we're trying so hard to please them, but it's just not working for them. It's just not enough. There's either too much work that they have to do in order to get the supply, or the supply they're getting is just not worth it. Again, this new person might seem like maybe they don't have a lot of money or a good job, whatever you feel makes them a downgrade. Maybe you even think they got, hit with the ugly stick. But we have to remember that we see things the way we see them, but the narcissist has points of view that are all their very own. This person might just be an easy target. an interesting target. Maybe they seem shallow and very vapid, but narcs like it when things don't really get very deep and emotional anyway. So maybe this is right up their alley. Moving on is something that has to be done for a narcissist as quickly as possible. They can't be alone, they can't afford to be alone, and they will always need fresh new supply to be able to feed from. It's an absolute necessity. They're not going to go scrounging around for crumbs and whatever's left over because they've sucked somebody completely dry. They want to go somewhere else where everything is now plentiful, regardless of maybe the quality. If you'd like to talk to me one on one and get counseling and coaching from a survivor who's gone through the healing process and understands exactly what you're going through, you can visit jess-stanley.square.site. There's a link for you down in the description. You can book chat sessions with me there and get a full list of services that I offer. You can also just send an email to bookachatwithjess@gmail.com, and I will personally send you information and set up chats with you there as well. The choice is yours. I look forward to hearing from you. The narcissist needs someone who plays fair. Remember, you need to play by the rules. Of course, the narcs rules, not your own, not anything else, but their rules. And after you begin to sort out who they are and you've spent a certain amount of time with them, a lot of people begin to refuse to do this. So over time, we get fed up. We begin demanding conversations and clarity. We say no to things that make us uncomfortable, whereas we wouldn't have before. We would have just said yes to everything. We ask questions. We're demanding explanations and answers. And that happens as we gain standards and boundaries. All stuff this new person isn't going to do. Yet, this person's getting love bombed. They're going to be love bombed and do whatever this person wants. That's just the way it goes. And this new person might actually be seen as a downgrade because they look weak. I've seen the people, some of the people anyway, that have come after me. And I still wonder, okay, they don't see that, like like they have to see what it is, right? Nothing has changed. I can tell nothing's changed, but you still think that's okay. Sometimes the trash that you seem to throw away, somebody else salvages it out of the yard and thinks it's some kind of treasure. We don't know. But these folks maybe don't have the standards, boundaries, or knowledge that I now do. Apparently, these new people play fair. They play by the rules and the game that the narcissist controls. And that's exactly how they like it. Really, in truth, overall submission of the other person, as far as the narcissist is concerned, is really what this is all about. The narcissist made a very bad choice. A lot of times, a narcissist goes right from the frying pan into the fire. They don't realize it until it's too late, but this can happen a lot. They felt like this would be a good person, but it backfired. And it can backfire for a lot of different reasons. It might have been a scramble pick in which the narcissist was very desperate and scooped up whoever would just bite on the hook first. And you might think, wow, what a downgrade. And they are. The narcissist probably knows this too. And these are usually very short lived, reboundy relationships, typically only a few months. They grab this person, but their head is still on that swivel. Their eyes are still wide open as they're still searching for grade A supply. This scenario is most common when you unexpectedly walk away and they haven't found a good source to replace you with. They haven't been able to leave on their terms, so they're going into meltdown mode. They're upset, they're freaking out, and they just grab the closest person. This can also spark a lot of hoovers. Again, they're scrambling, not sure what to do. But I mean, we have to face it. We know narcs can't be alone. So there are some times where they just can't afford to be picky. Maybe nobody who is their first, second, or third choice is biting on the hook. Maybe nobody wants to deal with them. Maybe they've recently been exposed. They think they've snatched up the next best thing, and it isn't. Maybe this person has sorted them out really quickly or didn't give them as much supply as the narcissist hoped for. Either way, it's a complete downgrade. It's a scramble pick. The narc made a bad decision, and trust me, they know it. The narcissist needs to be better. When a narc chooses a new person and you see this person or hear about this person and you go, like, holy poor decisions, Batman, like, where did you find this one? There might actually be a reason for that. If this person is maybe unattractive, or again, whatever reason that you feel this person is a downgrade. Well, I mean, let's talk about it when it comes to narcissism. They hate competition, don't they? They can't be with somebody who's better looking or more successful. That's a big one right there. You're not allowed to outshine them. You're not allowed to have a spotlight or have anything like that about yourself. They have to be the one who has the bigger, better everything. So if you see them with an Uggo or somebody else that where you just kind of raise an eyebrow, it might be because the narcissist wants the attention on them. They need somebody who fades into the background or just makes the narc look better when they're standing beside each other. Now, not every narc does everything on this list or behaves that way, but usually, if you're feeling there's a downgrade, we have to remember, like I said earlier, we see things the way we want to see them, and narcs are doing it the exact same way. And when you're not wired narcissistically, you're just never going to see what they see. These people lack logic by nature. Very few of their decisions make sense because it's extremely tailored to them. They're not looking out for anybody else. There's no kindness, there's no consideration. It's all about what they seem to think is best in that moment. But that is again changing so frequently that we may never really know. Tell me why you think the new supply is a downgrade down in the comments. And if you think differently, share that as well. Thanks so much for listening today. Please like, share, and subscribe to help my channel keep growing. Have a great day, Survivor, and take care of yourself. It never seems to fail that whether you break up with a narc or it's them who decides they're ready to move on, it's no time before they literally really move on. So how is it they can move on so quickly? In this video, I'll be talking about the narc's selection process for choosing someone new and how it seems they can glide so effortlessly from one relationship to the very next. People who are highly narcissistic have extremely short attention spans when it comes to other people. They can go on and on about themselves, what they're doing, what they've accomplished, the awards, the accolades, all the gloating, all the talking. But when it comes to you, they really can't be bothered for very long. This is incredibly apparent once you move from the love bombing phase of the relationship into the devaluing part of the cycle. During love bombing, they feign interest in you all day long. They want to know everything about you. But once they've collected the data that they feel they need, that's it. That's all they really need and nothing more. Furthermore, narcs only really enjoy the love bombing phase when you're texting, calling them a million times a day, and falling head over heels in love with them. And then the drama. That's really about it. Nothing will ever be calm and peaceful with a narcissist. Everything is at a 10 all the time, and it's how it stays. They need to be adored and praised while also engaging in all of their drama. And with this short attention span, it doesn't take long at all before you become amazingly boring to them. They've learned what they need to know. The honeymoon's over. You went from boiling over to a small simmer. They've got you hooked, and now they're quite meh, really, about all of this. And once you move into the devaluing stage of the relationship, the narcissist is seeking your replacement, or at least looking elsewhere for some attention and supply on the side. One person is never going to be enough, especially when they get bored faster than a 4-year-old. What's wild about this is even though they become tired of the routine, bored of you, and aloof to most situations, they still need your supply. They still need what you provide. So there's no breakup right there in the moment. First, they need to find a new person. And I'll just use my own experience as the example throughout this video. I was in my relationship for just over 18 months, so we're talking about a year and a half. And transparently, after 3 months, my devaluing began. So simple math here, that leaves 15 months where this person was looking for secondary supply and of course also looking for my direct replacement as a primary source. Primaries are very hard to come by because they're usually taking care of housing, financials, and other really important things for the narcissist. So for 15 months, the narc I was dealing with wasn't really into me at all. I was a list of goods and services, no more and no less. And this is where the harem comes into play. Between social media, dating apps, co-workers, complete randos, exes, and so on, narcs have access to hundreds and thousands of potential other sources to choose from. This person had social media, dating apps, the whole nine. I discovered the friends count on Facebook rising steadily as they went through every person they went to high school with and started adding them just for more people to poke and browse through. Every narcissist has a harem, rest assured. It might not be 1,000 people, no, but there are backups and backups for the backups. If you'd like to talk with me one-on-one and take advantage of my counseling and coaching sessions, you can visit jess-stanley.square.site to take a look at the services I offer and set up an appointment to talk with me. To book sessions with me directly, you can shoot an email to bookachatwithjess@gmail.com. This leads me to putting all of these points together. In my case, like I said, for 15 months, this person was totally over me. I was boring to them. I was a pain in the ass, but still providing some support and supply. So I wasn't completely worthless yet. Because of the harem they created, they were able to effortlessly choose dozens of new people to connect or reconnect with. And that's exactly what this person did on the low, of course. This harem helps them find people. And then, of course, we have to talk about monkey branching. And it's a name for what happens where they pick up with somebody new, they get their new source, begin texting them, testing, love bombing, seeing what works and what doesn't, of course, before they dissolve the old relationship. They're kind of on one branch over here and on one branch over here. They're figuring out what works. They're running a smear campaign on us, if they're telling other people about us at all. They begin to sift and sort through people to see who works best and where. So with all of that being said, the question here is how? How can they just so quickly and easily walk away from us and boom, into a new relationship? Well, like in my situation, they were so over me. I was there, but I wasn't even looked at like a girlfriend, especially in the last few months where contact had dwindled as, of course, they were on the hunt and looking for other supply. Think about how long you've been with this person. Let's just say like 5 years. And let's say you got 6 months of good love bombing. So the narcissist has really been over the relationship for 4.5 years. This is part of why it is so easy for them to leave. They've been over you for months or over a year, like with me, or in some cases, they haven't cared at all for years, multiple years. When you're not invested and it's basically a friendship with benefits, and by the way, they're the only ones who get the benefits, you can see how it's very easy for them to make the jump. Of course, add into the mix the fact that they monkey branch. They start the new relationship again before dissolving the old one. So there's already somebody new, somebody exciting, something all fantastical. So let's just say they've been over you for 2 years and then here comes this new person. Yeah, it's pretty easy for them to make that leap. I'm not saying it's smart. I'm just saying it's easy for them. For days, weeks, months before things end, they've already met this person, texting, talking every day. Maybe they've gone on dates or even more together. It can be a whole thing. I was discarded mid-November. I'm sure my replacement was found around the end of September, beginning of October, because that's when contact dwindled to nothing really more than a whisper. All relationships are different, of course, but they're over you long before they move on. In most cases, your replacement is already chosen. Even if you walk away unexpectedly and they have to scramble, the harem just speeds up the process. They might not be happy with their selection, particularly if they have to choose in a hurry, but a selection can be made fairly quickly nonetheless. There's plenty to choose from. More importantly, though, beyond them being bored of you for a lifetime before they move on, who cares? Despite the fact they have people to choose from out the ass, and it's just like pulling a random number from a hat like it's a raffle. None of that really matters. The whole point here is highly toxic, highly narcissistic people do not have emotional connections and emotional ties to other people. Narcs have very warped, skewed ideas on love. And as far as real love, that is a very scary idea to them. They don't want to open up, get close, and have those moments of intimacy and vulnerability. I don't necessarily want to say that they have no desire to connect, but to do so is just too scary for them. They feel as if the consequences are just too high. These are very fear based people, very shame based people. They fear judgment, they fear connection, yet they fear abandonment, yet they fear commitment. I mean, it's really a conundrum of a person happening in here. But that's why everything with these people is shallow, basic, superficial, and surface level. And then there's just mind tricks that make us feel like we're more deeply connected with them than we really are. And that's why it hurts. That's why it hurts us, because we invest. Our emotions are true. The love that we have is real. We go all in. And that's why it hurts when they move on so fast. But a narcissist simply does not. They never really engaged and connected emotionally to begin with. They've been over it for so long. Here comes something shiny and new, and it's just a hop, skip, and a jump on to the next. And when they have the disorder and they have the wants and the needs, they're going to keep moving forward. Thank you so much for listening today. Let me know what you think about narcs quickly moving on with the new supply down in the comments. Have a great day, survivor, and take care of yourself. When it comes to the narc's new love interest, you might be wondering, what does this person have that I don't? Is there a reason those two seem to work when we didn't? Is this shiny new person actually better than me? Let's talk about why the new supply is better than you. Hi, survivor. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Jess Stanley, a fellow survivor of a narcissistic relationship. If this is your first time here, hit the subscribe button. It's a super easy way to support my channel. To talk with me one-on-one, visit the link down in the description or shoot an email to bookachatwithjess@gmail.com. Now, let me be clear. As far as the narc is concerned, and as for how they see things, they of course feel they made the better choice. We now see this new person is clearly deemed better, but what's really interesting are the reasons that a narc feels that this new person is actually better. Reason number one, they're easier to love bomb and manipulate. Narcissists will choose who gets sucked in quickly and who will fall victim to love bombing and future faking. If the love bombing, mirroring, and the future faking, all of that goes well, and the new supply is quickly obsessed with the narc, well, obviously they see this as better. You're not much impressed by this person anymore. It's an obvious choice. They would pick the fresh face who still thinks this person is the most amazing person they've ever met. But share with me down in the comments how you were love bombed. Was it kind, sweet words, lots of texting attention, maybe that grand gesture? Make sure you let me know. Reason number two, the new people are completely clueless. This new person has no idea what they've just inherited. You know, and I know, but they're absolutely clueless about it for now. Cluelessness is vital for a narcissist's plans. After a few spins around the block, you know the narc, they know you, and of course you know how to push each other's buttons, you know those hot button issues. Honestly, you just know how to piss each other off. This new person, they haven't learned that yet. This is a whole new person for the narcissist to run their game on for months before any red flags begin to be taken seriously by this new source. So yeah, the narc is always going to take the path of least resistance. If you're a 2 out of 10, okay, you're really hard to fool. You're really hard to lie to because you've seen it all. You've been through it all. Or the narc has the choice of the 8 out of 10, let's say, who will believe the narc when they say, oh, I'm sorry, I couldn't call you because I was running late from feeding the homeless. Yeah, the choice here is obvious. Who is better, quote unquote? Pretty clear decision. Reason number three, they will likely do more and expect less. Narcs choose people who are typically very codependent. And that means so much more than they feel like they need a partner and they can't handle being alone. That's totally part of it, but not all of it. Codependent people aim to please. They feel very upset when someone doesn't like them. They try to please everyone. These are the fixers, the people pleasers, the ones that go above and beyond and expect very little in return. However, we get used up by these people so badly, we do actually change throughout the course of the relationship. We become far less eager to go out of our way to do more and more and more and get nothing back. But none of this has happened yet with this brand new person. They are newly future faked, and it's really sad to talk about it, but they still think all that good shit that they've been promised is coming. After 6 months, 18 months, 4 years, whatever, we know better. Again, this makes the new supply the easy, better choice. They can choose to work like a dog to get you to do maybe 1 out of 5 things that they want you to do. Or sweet talk a person, which is super easy to do because words mean nothing. They don't hold any water, they're just easy to do. And they can get 5 out of 5 things they want with no issues, no more than maybe a few texts or a few kind words. And hell, they'll probably get more than 5 out of 5 too. Reason number 4. They're just new. It's exciting to meet someone new. It's a mystery, a challenge, a chase, a thrill, new love bombing, a new person to learn, lust and passion, all that stuff. Narcs live and breathe for the newness of it all. They get bored incredibly quickly, and a new person will just simply hold their attention longer. Fear not. The new car smell only lasts for so long before you start to smell those old ass fries from Wendy's that fell under the seat. Well, I guess French fries isn't a bad smell, I suppose, but you get the idea. New is always going to be better in the eyes of a narcissist. Number 5, they are a fresh start. Once a narc discards you, or even if you walk away, it doesn't really matter how the relationship ends, but it does. A lot of times, a narcissist will go after somebody completely different since they're convinced the downfall of the relationship is on you. You were the issue. You were the problem. And of course, they didn't do anything wrong. They don't have issues. Remember, they're perfect. You can be replaced with a polar opposite. Now, this isn't always true. Sometimes they just reach out and grab onto whatever they can. Nonetheless, they see this as a new opportunity to find perfection, which you clearly were not. Again, a very sad, childlike way to think. No one is perfect. Nobody ever will be, and I don't know. It sounds exhausting to even want to be. To a narcissist, this new person is new. Easy to fool, easy to get, easy to keep, and things of that nature. For now, because this is so temporary, rest assured in less than a year, the narcissist will be as over this new source as mine was over me. It's called a cycle of abuse for a reason. It repeats, it never ends. They don't just choose a few people to treat like trash and then all of a sudden get an epiphany and see the error of their ways and go, oh, wow, I was so wrong. I'll be an adult now. If you're upset because of the new supply being better, quote unquote, they aren't. They're new on the scene. You're seasoned. You know how this goes. Yes, you might see or hear about them doing amazing things together, and that can be very hurtful. But you know what's around the corner, survivor. The lying, the gaslighting. They start spending more time on that damn cell phone that they flip upside down so you can't see the screen. They get distant and irritable. They start causing fights. No one is going to be spared the abuse unless they walk away in maybe 2 to 3 weeks after meeting this person. The new supply is only better in the eyes of a narcissist. And even then, it is not always going to be that way. So how long do you think narcissists love bomb their new sources of supply? For a month or 3, maybe more? How long were you love bombed? Let me know down in the comments. I'm curious about what you have to say. Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. It really helps my videos reach even more people. Have a great day, survivor, and take care of yourself. The narcissist will eventually treat everybody the same, right? You hear it all the time. Oh, don't worry about the new supply or the new people. they're going to get it just as bad as you did. What happens though when they're just not? The new supply seems incredibly happy. Let's talk about some reasons why the new supply is actually really happy in their new relationship with a narcissist. Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jess Stanley, and I'm a survivor of a narcissistic relationship. If you want information and awareness about narcissism, subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss anything. To work with me one-on-one, send an email to bookachatwithjess@gmail.com. There's also more information available down in the video description. So, how in the world could the new supply actually be happy with a narc? Well, let's talk about they're still being love bombed. And this one is really the primary reason the new supply seems so happy with the narc. For the first 3 to 6 months, and this can vary, not all narcs are created equal, but this person will be getting love bombed by the narcissist. What they get from the narcissist might be different, of course, than what you got during the whole love bombing phase. This is the only change you'll ever see a narc do. They have to impress and work over a new person, so it might require some different techniques. We're not all the same either, and the new supply will probably seem like they're on cloud 9, and they very well are. It is true, though, it won't last. They will eventually get the same treatment as we got and everybody else. Nonetheless, the new supply, though, can seem happy a year or even longer than that later in the relationship. So let's talk about why that might actually be a thing. So one of the reasons that could be is they just don't realize they're in a toxic relationship with a narcissist. If you've never been in a relationship with a narc before, or a highly toxic person in general, you might not have any idea what all of this is. I certainly knew in my own personal relationship that things were very wrong and very bad, but I had no idea of the level of toxic that it really was. I had very little idea about what was happening to me, other than I was very confused and I really didn't like it most of the time. But we don't know anything either about the new supply. This is something else to actually factor in, especially when it comes to how the new supply grew up. We usually have no idea. We don't know these people. A lot of them is a mystery, and it's kept that way. But some of the folks grow up with toxicity, and they find this really shitty, abusive relationship completely normal, not comfortable, but it's just the way things go. So there might be a history of abuse that this new person is familiar with, that they have just normalized, and hey, this is just the way things go. The new supply might see the problems, but not really be sure what to do with them, much like myself, and I'm sure like other people, but they still stay in the relationship. Another big part of why the new supply can seem happy for an extended period of time is the new supply probably has little to no expectations of the narcissist. They have no boundaries and they have no standards. We all know that a narc is going to gaslight and blame shift and make everything the new person's fault. Get this person to have as low expectations and standards as possible. It's what they do to us. It's what they do to everybody. Try to get us to have very little expectations of them. They certainly don't want to do anything. We're not supposed to have standards or boundaries or anything like that. We know this. They strip it away from us. They're going to do it from the new person too. The narcissist has more than likely told this person they're the problem. Hell, they probably even told the new supply, listen, you should just be happy that I even continue to be with you. And then they stay because the new supply really does love them. The new supply will be accepting of those incredibly low standards, taking the blame, putting up with this person, because that's how the narc works. We did it. There's no reason to think that somebody else won't either. The new supply might be tolerating this with a smile on their face. Future faking also helps keep the new supply happy and right in line. We know what future faking is. Those really shitty false promises of getting married, kids, oh, this big expensive trip we're going to plan, this vacation, we're going to move in together. And that can be overwhelmingly appealing to the new supply because sometimes it was overwhelmingly appealing to us. I certainly was all about the getting married and building a life together. And it was very happy. It made me very happy to think about, to talk about. I remember a lot of the time I was not getting along very well with this person. And he would say, Let's just talk about the future. You're always in a good mood when we talk about the future. Again, hindsight. So getting hitched, moving in together, having a kid, all that stuff might be just enough little future fakey love bombiness to keep that new supply happy for just a little while longer, especially if it's breadcrumbed out in little doses. The love bombing fades after 3 to 6 months, and in a couple months, they start talking about moving in together, getting married, and then kids and all of this stuff. And before you know it, for a year, year and a half, maybe longer, maybe they're engaged now. And the new supply, again, still happy, still thinks that everything is going great. Another really important thing to consider, they only appear to be having a good time in public and or / on social media. So I'm not entirely sure why some people just seem to live and die by what they see on social media, but they really shouldn't. You might get told by somebody, hey, go check out this profile, what have you. You see some photos, you see some posts, they're at an event, they're doing something, oh, they seem so happy together. Okay, let's just say for the sake of an example, they went to a concert or a festival somewhere together, and there they are. There's people everywhere, everything's great, and their arms are around each other, big smiles for the photo. Yeah, super cute, but listen, what you probably don't know, is the new supply got the silent treatment in the car all the way there. They did or didn't do something perfectly, because while we can't expect anything from them, they sure as hell have high expectations of us. So the new supply didn't perform perfectly, and so that was their punishment. But you don't even know about it. You see the smiles in the photo. Yeah, they got the silent treatment in the car all the way there. You didn't see the fight in the car on the way home. The narc yelling and screaming at this person. Well, why did you take so long? Why were you talking to that person? Blah, blah, blah. You can sort out the reasons, I'm sure. You don't see how after the event was over and everybody got home, the narc completely vanished and didn't talk to this person for 4 days. What you don't know is things might maybe even be okay, quote unquote, but the narc is still talking to 6 other people on the down low, and the new supply, or newest supply at the time, has absolutely no idea. All you see from a picture, from a post, from what somebody else is telling you is literally 1 second in time. They could have been fighting mere minutes before taking that photo. Maybe you even see them out somewhere together, or somebody that you know sees them and relays to you this information. They might seem very happy and jovial, and typically this is the way things look when they're out in public. Narcs do their best dirty work behind closed doors. They have to maintain certain images, both on their socials and in public. Because when people like us, like other survivors, complain about their behavior, everybody seems stupefied. Oh, so-and-so, but they're so nice. They're so great. They're so helpful, because 95% of what's happening is happening off of social media and behind closed doors. So tell me, survivor, is the new supply really happy? I really want to know what you have to say. Tell me down in the comments. Visit jess-stanley.square.site to set up an appointment with me online, or you can just send an email. Book a chat with jess@gmail.com. Have a great day, survivor, and take care of yourself. We all know that a narcissist never changes their ways, but it can be really confusing when they move on with new supply. This new person, new relationship, this whole new dynamic can seem to cause the narcissist to behave very differently with this person than they behave with you. This video will explain some of those changes that the narcissist does make, but really more importantly, why there are these recent developments for the new flame, but not for you. Change number 1, you're an option now. Once a narcissist finds new supply, they don't need to rely on you much for that supply that they were getting before. You become the choice, the option, in some cases, the last resort. They can reach out or not, and it doesn't really affect them. The narcissist can do whatever now, because who they are depending on, who they're now codependent on, is their brand new flavor of the month. And you'll notice they treat you very differently, sometimes very casually. If they were typically a very jealous person, you might find they don't really care anymore. They pop in and out of your life and in and off of your phone, social media, very sporadically. In some cases, you get little to no attention, and that's just the way it is. And it can look like a huge change if they've repeatedly hoovered you or repeatedly popped up and now they're just falling off the planet. It goes without saying that you lose a lot of your appeal to a narcissist once a new person is in the mix. And it can look like this person is just so great and you suck. And that change can seem to come out of absolute left field. Change number 2, they can become increasingly argumentative. With new supply under their belt, this is where, of course, that's where they're getting all their physical stuff, all their love bomby, cloud 90, complimenty, ego boosty bullshit with somebody else. But what they continue to do is make their rounds to people like you. And what you get is the devaluing, the fighting, the insults, and all of that really icky, yucky behavior. That is now all that you get. Because narcs love good attention and bad attention. They won't turn away from either one. It's all the same. Someone is boosting their ego in that fluffy, bunny, sexy, romantic way, but now they come to you to get the different kind of ego boost. They're going to fight with you, struggle for power, make sure you know who's in charge, bash you and name call you to make themselves feel good. You just now give a way different kind of feel good than the new supply does. Fights become more prominent when they're first discovering their new sources and they need time from you anyway. They pick the random fights and the most random fights in the history of ever to vanish because they need to go groom the newbie. You'll notice that distance is key. They can't completely lose you, so they get the bare minimum while they're in that transition from you to the new supply. Narcs have an amazing, fantastic way of sorting out how little we need to be able to continue to hang on to the relationship. It's really kind of wild how they can sort that out. To get help and support for what you're going through, you can talk with me one-on-one, and there's a couple of different ways you can do that. One, you can send an email to bookachatwithjess@gmail.com, or you can get a list of these services I offer and book online. You can just go through my website, the link and all that information, my email address, so on and so forth, all down in the video description for you if you want to check that out. Change number 3, they get all fancy. If they have new supply, or even if it's not really maybe new anymore, quote unquote, the relationship with you is over, you're still going to see that change in their appearance. The new clothes, the freshly cut hair, they keep up with it, the makeup, the nails, the tanning, the sometimes even surgery, all this cosmetic stuff. Maybe they are, getting the car detailed, the new car, maybe actually cleaning their house and not being slob of the year. They're going to try to be cleaner and all around look better. And this change is very clearly to impress someone new who doesn't know how they really live, or they have to keep this going because they're going to try to maintain it as long as they're love bombing this person. It helps keep up the facade. But this is a change that you might notice. They were a complete slob with you, buried under a pile of garbage, haircut, once every 85 years. And now all of a sudden they're so fresh and so clean and everything's all great. And you're like, really? Now? Well, remember, they have someone to impress. When a narcissist is love bombing, don't ever forget the survivor. They're working. They're on the clock. Change number 4. The new supply might oddly have some standards and some boundaries. And trust me, a narcissist is unaware of this, and this is definitely not somebody that they want to pick. They don't mean to do this, but a narc might accidentally jump from the frying pan into the fire and pick up a person who doesn't have a low self-esteem. They just kind of get suckered in by some love bombing. Not everybody is a super empathic-y, super codependent-y, like doormat like myself, and other people. They can just fall for other people as well. And a narcissist can totally find themselves up against a person who might go in for a little bit of the love bombing, a little bit of the chase, but they won't be fully love bombed. They will hold and maintain the standards that they have set. Again, the narc doesn't love this. But sometimes they're in a tight spot. They've already maybe jumped away from you, and maybe you've given them a big middle finger and you've gone no contact. So there's no going back to you. And now they go, uh-oh, I didn't maybe pick so good and now I don't know what to do. For example, you might see like they date somebody who has kids, but they couldn't care less about kids. They don't care about their own kids, but you'll see them pretend to be like stepmom or stepdad, respectively, of the year. They just have to kind of roll with the punches. Sometimes there's nothing left for them to do. They get super desperate. Speaking of desperation, possible change number 5. They're super damn desperate now, because there's always going to come a time, the way that these people behave, where they can't be picky. They can't be choosy. They're going to latch on to what they have, and they're going to kind of, to a certain extent, do what's asked of them. It's not all that uncommon that they get themselves into a tight spot where they could become jobless, homeless, penniless, all of the above, if they don't somewhat do what a person wants them to do. Sometimes they have no choice but to conform. Rest assured, when that seems to be the only road they have to go down, you will see the temporary change, you will see the conform, but the heads on the swivel, the new supply, the doormat to end all be all doormats, the biggest codependent of the year, they are in hot pursuit of finding that new person. If you want to get connected with me, then I invite you to become a channel member here on YouTube. And becoming a member gets you loyalty badges, special survivor emojis, a whole bunch of videos, and access to my chat group on Discord, a simple app where myself and other survivors all chat together all the time about a bunch of different topics. And it's a really great little support group that we're building there. So there's a link to do all of that down in the video description, or you can just click the join button right below this video here. We hope to see you over on the group chat, and I appreciate you considering becoming a member. What you'll notice when it comes to narcs and all this stuff is these changes are, yes, all temporary. Sometimes they're going to have to comply. Like I say, they're gonna go, oh, okay, I get it. This person is, not who I thought they were. They're trying to get me to adult and all this shit I don't want to do. So I'm out. You will notice the changes. They're temporary. I mean, they have to be nice at least every once in a while to get access to what they get access to. I'm sure we can all notice a million little changes, but it's all temporary. It's all because they're on the clock. They're love bombing. They're working. They will always go back to their old self in the end. Survivor, it's so much easier for them not to change. By thinking that they're all of a sudden going to be someone different and miraculous, you are asking a lot out of somebody like this. Do you know what's easier to do? Be disenchanted with you in the relationship, blame you, let you know it's all your fault, drop you like a bad habit, and then slide right into the relationship with somebody else that you've probably already been grooming for 1 to 2 months anyway. Why on earth would they go to therapy, think about it, self-reflect, work on it, try to make something work? It's just so much easier to go, oh yeah, them, they suck. This next person, this will be the love of my life now. If you want, check out all that information down in the description. Thanks so much for watching. And most importantly of all, have a great day, survivor, and take care of yourself. You are only love bombed by a narcissist for so long, but the new supply is no different. There is nothing so special about this new person that will stop the cycle that narcs go through. The new supply 100% gets devalued after the honeymoon is over. In this video, I will talk about the ways that this happens and in how a lot of the cases you actually play a part in the devaluing of the new supply. Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jess. I'm a survivor of a toxic relationship. Subscribe for more videos on narcissistic awareness, education, and of course, support. Number 1, how narcs devalue the new supply. Well, of course, with all of the lies. A narcissist's lies will quickly begin to affect the new supply in a very negative way. Narcs often lie about their exes, the breakups, when it happened, how it happened, their living situation. The new supply does not know the truth about these situations. They'll be told the narc had to break up with the ex. The ex was dangerous, obsessive, or crazy. This begins to tie in deception, manipulation, and also slowly works a triangulation angle, which I will talk more about here in a minute. Gaslighting also begins to creep in as the lies stack up. Once they begin to fly, the new supply will be gaslighted and guilt-tripped if they have any questions about the order of events. As the narcissist lies more and more, this is where things begin to become confusing for the new supply. They're really not quite sure what's happening. The gaslighting helps convince them that it's them, while they get even more manipulated and pulled into triangulation. Lies begin that very slow descent down to the devaluing of the new supply. Number 2, we can't forget about jealousy. The new supply is built up in the love bombing phase of the relationship. You're so great. You're so wonderful. Nobody else is ever going to compare to you. Again, once all of that is over, when the narc is not interested in love bombing anymore, they flip everything upside down. Old flames and the old sources of supply are usually jealous of the new flavor of the month, but right here, as devaluing starts, everything gets flipped on its head. You might remember that moment where you went from golden to garbage. You might remember suddenly hearing about exes, friends, or family and how they did everything better than you. The new supply gets an earful of how shitty you are as they are love bombed, until it's the time for the new supply to get wrecked. And then all of a sudden, boom, they hear about how all of the narc's exes, they're not really so bad. Making the new supply jealous is definitely not something that you do when you care about somebody and when you think that they are just so great. Triangulating them with other people, making them jealous, making them upset is 100% absolute devaluing. They will triangulate the new supply with all different kinds of people, their family members, their coworkers, the exes, if they have kids with somebody. And it does a complete flip where the new supply goes from being built up to being completely knocked down. You can visit my website or send me an email if you want to talk with me one-on-one about what you're going through and get education and support from a fellow survivor. You can send that email to bookachatwithjess@gmail.com, or again, visit my website at jess-stanley.square.site. All of that information is available for you at any time down in the video description. Number 3, we got to talk about the Hoovers. Hoovers help flip everything over for the new supply as well. The narc is over them, bored to tears, looking for something else. So here come the Hoovers. And this is where you come in. You might get hoovered by a narc and have no idea that they are actually still with this new supply. That's how fresh everything might actually be. So not only does the narc begin looking for somebody new, they're also hoovering the exes. They're going to lie to people. And again, if you're being hoovered, you might not even know that they're still with the new supply. You might get lied to about, is it over or not? We don't know. We never know. This goes back to lying and all about how narcs never stop lying. Nonetheless, hoovering your exes, chatting behind the back of the new supply, this is awful, and also goes to show how great the new supply isn't, and how the new supply is just like everybody else. They get lied to, they get triangulated, they get gaslighted. When the narc begins to hoover other people, it's a slap in the face to the new supply, who's being loyal, open, and honest with them. Number 4, cheating. We all know how this goes. Whether it's emotional, physical, or both, it's a glaring, disrespectful sign of devaluing. The new supply gets devalued. This is one that usually makes an appearance after a while. Narcs are never going to stop doing this. They need more than one person to go to at any given time. The amount of supply most of them need is overwhelming. I mean, it really is just never going to be enough. Just because the new person stays with the narcissist for a long time, it also doesn't mean that things are great. So this is another point that I want to touch on while I have you here. The last time that I got the lowdown on the narc that I dated like 5 years ago or whatever, they're married and they have kids now. So that doesn't mean that the relationship is a success, and that doesn't have anything to do with me. So after some investigative work, from what I understand, there's multiple kids from multiple partners, multiple breakups and get back togethers. It also seems from social media, the spouse of this person that I dated also enjoys being a bully, a liar, a blabbermouth, and a busybody, while also trying to shove it in everyone's face how great their life is. There are so many red flags here right now. So while the person I dated, yes, is married, the lifestyle is still shitty. It's gossipy, dramatic, hectic, and it looks like two bullies found each other, like two loudmouth ships passing in the night. It doesn't mean it's an awesome relationship. Also, it doesn't mean that it's a relationship I want to be a part of. Just because this person is married and I'm not, or whatever is happening in that dynamic, it doesn't mean I want to be a part of it. I don't want to be with a person who does nothing but argue and carry on with dramatics and theatrics. I don't live my life that way. I don't like it. The narc has moved on, but not to something that I'm jealous of, not to something that I'm missing out on. It's not even something that I would want. So let me close by saying this. Remember, just because this person moves on, it doesn't mean that other people are getting what they want. You don't want to be with someone obnoxious who is so stupid. They post all of their emotional, soap opera-like business on social media and all of that. You're not missing out by letting go of these people. A narcissist might be moving on with their life. They're not moving up. Thanks so much for listening. Share anything that you would like with me down in the comments. And as always, have a great day, survivor. Take care of yourself. It can truly be perplexing when a narcissist gets into a relationship with somebody and it actually seems to work. It seems to flourish and even thrive, despite the fact that you know how this person is and how they behave, and no relationship that they ever get into should work. And the fact can really hurt a person. It can be difficult to see a person who has manipulated, lied, cheated, did whatever they did to you, move on to a new source of supply, and the relationship actually appears to be quite successful. A lot of survivors get wild ideas that since the only thing different or missing is them, that they were the issue. So I want to put all those thoughts to rest and let you know that couldn't be further from the truth. This video is going to tell you why the narcissist's new supply, new relationship is going so well. Number one, you are believing the social media bullshit. If you're getting your information from posts and photos on social media, you literally have no evidence to go on as to how the relationship really works or how it's really being maintained. I'm pretty sure it's been proven by now that like 90% of the crap posted on social media is either done to shove something in another person's face, to humble brag, moan and complain about something, or cry for attention. Did you know that there are some narcissists who monitor their partner's social media? You ever see a post and then it disappears and you can't figure out what happened? You don't think that this person's been warned to take something down or post something up, respectively? Some narcs even refuse to allow their partners to post things that they haven't okayed first. There are some victims that aren't allowed to post anything negative or that might make them look like a victim. Or, of course, they're not allowed to post anything that might make the narc look bad. In some cases, the narcissist is completely running the profiles and the social media. To make another point, we can all say and do and be anybody online. I can post a video of me walking around at a Ferrari dealership, and I could probably even convince one of the employees that I'm some kind of influencer. And here, let me make a TikTok video and you hand me a set of keys for the laughs. rest assured, there's no Ferrari, there's no nothing. You can see photos, for example, of them together and say, well, Jess, look, there's pictures, there's proof. Look how happy they are. You can see all this. Sure, they all look very happy and everything looks great. You know what you don't see in those pictures? Let's talk about what you don't see. Number 2, you can't see what's happening behind closed doors. What you don't see is they fight for half an hour, like 10 minutes after they snap that picture where they're oh so lovey-dovey. You might say, but oh, look, I have proof. They went on a trip together. Oh, yeah, that's so cute. Yeah, how many times did the narc probably ruin and suck the fun out of every single ounce of that trip? 95% or more of narcissistic abuse actually takes place behind closed doors. And this happens for several reasons. Narcs need to preserve their reputation. Furthermore, hiding all of it helps to make you look crazy, and then no one believes you. Social media is another line of defense thrown in to convince you that all is well in the world. You don't know what's happening behind the curtain, except when you think about it, you actually really do know, survivor, believe it or not, because you probably know this person pretty well. What they did to you, they're going to do to the next person as well. Why would they change? Number 3, the relationship is working because it's a cycle. A cycle is always going to cycle. That's literally what it does. Love bomb, devalue, and discard. That is the cycle of narcissistic abuse. Actually, it's kind of more like love bomb, devalue, love bomb, devalue, love bomb, devalue, discard, hoover, love bomb, devalue. But who's counting, right? We kind of know how all of this works. I'm sure that you do. A cycle is always going to work. That's what it does. A narcissist is always going to work and do what it does. Remember, like the Lion King, the circle of life thing, and it's always going to keep going. This is what's going to happen. So the relationship isn't working. The cycle is in full swing. The narc is in full swing. And those are always going to continue to work, not the relationship. Number 4, you're actually dealing with 2 people completely ruled by fear. Sometimes things that you see working, just like the whole cycle analogy, it's still not working. It's being held together by tape and staples, hopes and dreams, and in cases like this, a lot of fear. Narcs are afraid to be alone. We know this. They will stay clinging to people that they don't really want to, but it's better than that whole nothing alternative. They don't want to do that. Along the same lines, a lot of victims will stay despite the abuse, and their own codependency issues are going to cause them to not want to be alone, to not want to have to start over, to not want to lose what they have, so on and so forth. So you have potentially 2 people that have a fear of change, a fear of abandonment, a fear of rejection, fear of failure, being alone, and so on. It's going to cause 2 people sometimes who might both not be very into it to try desperately to keep up the appearances and try to keep things going. Number 5, shame, stubbornness, and winning. So there are a lot of times when the new supply that a narcissist has will stay with the narc out of shame. They might have maybe reached out to you or the last person the narcissist was with. And what I'm trying to say here is the new supply might have made an ass of themselves. Maybe they fought for the narcissist and they fought hard and they stuck their neck out for the narc. And now they kind of have to look happy with the prize they won, despite the fact that they're not happy at all. Sometimes they even need to convince themselves, no, this is what I wanted. I'm totally right. I fought for this and this doesn't suck. I'm going to fix it. Remember, the narcissist lured this person into a new relationship. So sometimes the new supply can have that very deranged way of thinking where they think they're going to fix the narc. Well, yeah, of course the relationship sucks. They think the narc has been abused and been through all this torment, and it's up to them to try to fix it. And this can also tie into stubbornness, where again, the supply knows that they got a raw deal, but they don't want to look like they've made a wrong, very stupid decision. And keep in mind, again, they have fought for the narc a lot of the times. They've stood up for them and they have to make it look like, well, no, this is what I wanted. This also ties into winning. Think about it, survivor. Now they're stuck with this. They're stuck with this miserable, bitching, whining, crying, complaining, begging pile of whatever, and now they have to act like they like it. Remember that haircut that you got and you looked in the mirror and you went, oh my God, What has happened to me? But you got to act like you love it. It's great. And that's what you asked for. Or the dog that like tears up your house and you have to lie. And no, I totally trained him to do that. Not all dogs will do that, but mine will. That's pretty much what happens in a lot of cases with narcs. People know that they're stuck with somebody who behaves like this, but they don't want to risk looking foolish or like they went from the frying pan into the fire because it can be very embarrassing. Just because the relationship can go on for a long time, though, does not mean it's truly a success. Time is not happiness. Time never equals happiness. 10 years will never be better than 5 years if it all feels very abusive and painful, manipulative, and wrong. Sometimes the rebound, it goes on for a while. And if you find yourself asking why, well, here are some of the reasons. And as you can see, none of them are good. So did I miss any reasons? If I did, tell me down in the comments. Thanks for